Good evening and welcome to the next and final in a series of live debates here on PLG-TV 13. I'm Matthew Fogel, along with the editor of the Kentucky Standard, Forrest Berkshire, and Kentucky Standard reporter, Randy Patrick. We're live from the Nelson County Civic Center on South 3rd Street in Bardstown. Thank you for joining us this evening. Our debates tonight focus exclusively on Bardstown in a race that will be decided on General Election Day, Tuesday, November the 8th. Due to the number of candidates in the field for the Bardstown City Council, 16 in all, PLG chose to split the candidates into two separate fields of 8. This split is based on a drawing that was held live on Facebook on Friday, October the 7th, and can be viewed archived on PLG's Facebook page. The first field just finished up their debates, and the second field will be debating now. The split drawing was completely random, and there are absolutely no implications tied to either field or what time slot they are being presented here tonight. The seating order, from left to right, however, is based on ballot positions. So now we present to you the candidates in the second live debate tonight here on PLG. This will go from left to right, and we will let you know that one candidate was not able to make it tonight, a candidate in ballot position number 2, Sean C. Ralston. So seated with us this evening are candidates in ballot position number 3, Bill Shekels, candidate number 5, R. Coach Roe Williams, candidate number 7, David C. Dones, candidate number 8, Franklin Thompson, candidate number 9, John S. Kelly Jr., candidate number 11, Francis Lydian, and candidate number 13, Richard B. Nest. So without further ado, let's get to it. To make things simple tonight, all opening statements, answers, and closing statements will be limited to 90 seconds per candidate. So we'll begin with the opening statements from candidate Bill Shekels.
Thank you, Matthew. My name is Bill Shekels, and I have lived the majority of my life in Bardstown. If you've all paid any attention to politics in Bardstown over the past several years, you know who I am. I have spent 12 years as a Bardstown City Councilman and 4 years as your mayor. There's not been one day since I've been out of office that someone had approached me and asked me, am I going to run again? So with the encouragement of my family and friends, once again, I'm going to agree to commit my time, my knowledge, and my experience in city government to try and continue to make Bardstown a better place to live, work, and play. Bardstown is my home. It's where I brought my wife to live and where we have raised our children. I've always believed that the community you live in should be a better place to live because you help make it better. And that's what I've tried to do in my public and private lives. That's why I'm running again, and with your support and vote of many of our concerned citizens, I think we can make it happen. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Roland Williams. Most people know me as Coach Roe. I'm listed on the ballot as R. Coach Roe Williams, and I am number 5 on the ballot. I've been married to Rita Williams for 43 years, and we have 2 adult children. Monica, who is a second grade teacher at Bardstown Primary, and Rashawn, who is a UPS employee. I am a member of, or have been a member of, numerous civic and professional organizations and served on numerous committees and boards, really too numerous to actually mention. But I am proud to tell you that I am an active member of First Baptist Church, where I serve as a trustee, where I'm also a member of the Very Able Men's Ministry, Sound Room Ministry, and part-time Sunday school teacher. I'm also proud to tell you that I am a Vietnam-era Air Force veteran. Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Dones. I appreciate everyone coming out tonight, and thank you, Matthew, for the introduction. I'm a nearly lifelong resident of Bardstown, and I'm a nearly 20-year business owner here in the city of Bardstown. I've dealt with various industries here in Bardstown and most of the utilities, most of the people involved with the utilities. My family, I've raised my family here, my wife Dana, my 3 children, Taylor, Wes, and Emma. and we've lived here within the city of Bardstown, or in and around, or I have, for 35 years. So I'm pleased and proud to be a part of this group that's running for the city council. I appreciate your vote, because I'd love to be a part of the great things that Bardstown can achieve, and I know that they can achieve. And I'd appreciate your vote on November 8th. I'm number 7 on your ballot. Thank you.
My name is Frank Thompson. You'll find me on the ballot as Franklin Thompson. I've lived in Bardstown 40 years. I'm a retired United States Navy CB, Command Master Chief, and a Master Chief Equipmentman. I do a lot of volunteer work around town and a lot of volunteer work now overseas. I'm single, and that doesn't have any problem on the running for office, so I don't have anybody else to answer to except the citizens. But I like your, I'm very pleased to present myself for you to make the decision on whether I run or I'm elected or not. So just remember me when you go into the ballot box. I'm number 8 on the list.
Hi, I'm John Kelly. I am a lifelong resident of the city of Bardstown, except when I went off to college. I have a wife, Kathy Kelly, 3 adult children here that all live in the city of Bardstown. Nicole Wheatley, Jack Kelly, and Ellen Bowling. And with all of them, I have 6 grandchildren. I have a degree in business administration from the University of Kentucky. I also have a law degree from the University of Kentucky. After graduating law school, I came back to Bardstown, practiced law for 17 years. During those 17 years, I was city attorney. I also served on Gus Wilson's Mayor's Advisory Council. And after those 17 years, I ran for and was elected your county attorney. I served as county attorney for 14 years. Some of my civic involvement I was very involved in the JC organization here. It's not quite as active as it was when I was younger. I served both local offices, state offices, and even served as National Legal Counsel. I've been on Bardstown Rotary Club for 30 years. I've been on for over 30 years, and been on the Old Bardstown Village Board of Directors for over 30 years, and have served as chairman of that organization. So I'm going to ask that you support me, because I think I've got the experience and knowledge to be a city council person.
Good evening. My name is Francis Lillian, incumbent candidate for Bardstown City Council. I would like to thank PLG and Kentucky Standard, and to whom it may concern, for this debate. I am a lifelong resident, many years experience in city government and common sense. Self-employed, semi-retired owner of Lillian Body Shop, military veteran, American Legion member, St. Michael Church member. My wife is deceased, 2 adult children. The reason I'm running for re-election, I like this city I live in. I would like to continue supporting this beautiful city and all residents and business for betterment. Some transportation projects I would like to see completed. Improving intersection at Cathedral Manor and West Stephen Foster, and see a loop around Bardstown. More sidewalks are needed. I was against the separation of the joint city and county services. The separation created a big expense for city's taxpayer. I was discussing a plan with our past fire chief and the cooperation, a plan that would save the city millions of dollars. And I could not get the support. City full-time fire department is good for the community. City full-time fire department was established without a plan by the current city administration. City fire station need to be bigger because the one now do not have enough restrooms and shower facilities for the firefighters. City needs to maintain a balanced budget.
Mr. Lillian, we're going to be time on that. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for your opening statement. Mr. Ness.
Hi, my name is Richard Ness, South Center Street. Running for an elected office 2 times before does make me the best qualified to be a freshman city councilman. The issues on taxes come up every election period. Local governments have two major forms of income, taxes and fees. We now tax everything, including the kitchen sink. The issue on the budget comes up. Did you see in the Kentucky Standard? Well, it's not my budget. That's what was turned in. I will share this. Instead of giving each council member a $1,000 to spend on education or whatever, let's give the department heads the educational tools to present the budget. Another question has been, where do I stand on the county and city working together? In this election and in previous elections, my stand is and has been, I support the two governments working together whenever they can. The new 9/11 program shows it can be done. Growth. We all want better water. We all want our streets paved. And we need more businesses like the old Sykes to be here within the city limits. The mysterious $11 million could solve the first two. On the campaign trail, the top question has been, what do you think of the mayor? My answer has been, if we were voting on the mayor this evening, I would not vote for the mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for opening statements. We'll keep the microphone where it is. Mr. Ness, you'll field this first question first. And to give this first question, we'll go to Kentucky Standard reporter Randy Patrick.
Could you tell me what letter grade you would give the mayor and the city council over the last 2 years, and give us some specifics as to what you base that grade on?
The question is, what grade would I give the city council for the last 2 years and the mayor? I'm going to tell you right from the very beginning, the letter that the majority of the people that I have been out speaking to has given the mayor and the city council an F. During this period of time, I've watched, I've listened on different issues that have come up. The number one issue I think that made me feel as if that F was extremely close was the personnel questions, such as McCubbins and Howard. Those are two questions I think we should revisit and come back to. So if I was to give the city council and the mayor a letter vote, I definitely would give them a D-. Thank you.
I'm not going to sit here and try to give myself a score or give the mayor a score, because the mayor thinks he's doing right and I'm thinking him doing right. So I'll let the public give us a grade. But one thing I may indicate that we could use some improvement in our relationship. In the past, I have served under many mayors and many councilmen. We may not agree on everything, but we all work together. But I think the council can improve for betterment if we can work together a little better for this community. Thank you.
I also find it difficult to give a letter grade on a body of people, because it's made up of numerous bodies and numerous individuals. There are certain individuals on there that have had good ideas and have promoted some good ideas, but we have certainly seen that the city council and the mayor have not gotten along well at all with each other. And I think some of the problems I have seen is that there's been a lot of personality contests between them, where they've gotten personal. And when you get involved in personalities, you lose sight of the issue. And that means that even sometimes you may agree on an issue, you still don't agree and you can't get along and you can't see beyond that. So we do not need personality conflicts on the city council. I'm going to look to get on the city council to solve the issues, not to personally attack any individual because of what they think or what their position is. And if someone chooses to get personal, I'll just ignore it and go on and try to deal with the issues. But I do think that we need open, honest communication between the mayor and the council. We need full disclosure. We do not need anybody on the council or any mayor going out on their own without full disclosure and, on that. So I think that's what I can bring to the city council.
Giving a letter grade is not part of my job. When I filled out evaluations in the military, there's always, does he work well with others? And I seem to see that the city council and the mayor are having a problem working together as much as they need to be. No fault of the mayor, no fault of the council, it just seems a personality conflict. What we need to do is sit down, take your egos and put them in the back closet and decide what is best for the city. You know, we've got a town that's growing. We're seeing more tourists in town here lately, and this is one of our lifebloods, is the tourists. So what we need to do is make sure that everybody in this town, either the city or the county, and especially the city council and the mayor, get along, and so we know what's going on, and we can get everything taken care of.
I too would have some difficulty placing a letter grade on the body as a whole, or the government body as a whole, because we do have some current council people that are very dedicated to what they do, and I think have a true understanding and a true passion for the city of Bardstown. So I'd have difficulty passing a letter grade on the whole group. I think that I agree with a couple of the past comments that working together is the issue, and being able to civilly and calmly and coolly discuss the matters at hand are how you get things done. If it becomes personal, between a couple of people, then you're never going to pass anything. You're never going to achieve what can be achieved in that body. So that being said, I'd hope to be elected with a group that we can sit down and coolly and calmly discuss the issues and make decisions that are based on that. So, thank you.
Unlike most of the people sitting at this table, I've given quite a few grades. And I try to grade on curve when I can. But in all honesty, I cannot give the mayor a passing grade for what he has accomplished in these 2 years. And I don't want that to be taken personal. Start out with breaking tradition by not going to a Martin Luther King Day program, separation of our county government and the city. Of course, the reconstruction of the police department in the manner in which it was done, swearing in a command staff in a private ceremony and not inviting the council, something like that's normally done at a council meeting. I've heard several complaints about what has occurred on social media. Walking out of a meeting, all of those things are not what should be done. Now, as far as the council, I feel like we've done a good job, and we've been hit with one surprise after another, and it makes it kind of difficult to do our job. Thank you.
What kind of grade would I give this mayor and this particular council? I'm probably unique in here in this particular session because I've sat there for 12 years as a city councilman and also 4 years as a mayor. And I realize in that position, the mayor's job is a leader of the city. He is the one that hopes to bring consensus. He is the one that leads by example. He is the one that leads through his actions, being transparent. And he is the one that meets with the council and is truthful with the council, and does, when they have a conversation, that they can be trusted. Mayor and council can be trusted when they communicate with each other, that what they say they can stick with. This particular council and mayor have not done that. It's been an awkward situation, And of course, in the position where I've been as past mayor and council, I hear it continually every day. A grade that I would give them, that's going to be a grade I think the citizens in this community have already decided. And I would hope that with this upcoming election, that we can get some people on this board and this council that is knowledgeable of this community. They have experience in dealing with all different types of situations, and have made a commitment to work together for the betterment of this community. That's what we've been lacking, and that's what we need to get back to. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. We'll keep the microphone where it is and pass it back down for this next question. And a note to the audience at home and here at the Civic Center that you will notice if you watch the first debate, these are the exact same questions that we asked the first field of candidates for the first debate. And we did email all of the candidates on Monday at around noon the topics that would be covered tonight. So they all knew ahead of time the topics. They didn't know exactly the questions in verbatim. So just a note there that that everyone kind of knew somewhat of what was going to be asked tonight. For this next question, we'll go to Kentucky Standard editor Forrest Berkshire.
The last 2 years have been marked by splits between the mayor and some councilmen, and splits between council members individually. What is needed for this next council to foster a working relationship, and what is it that you will bring to promote that relationship?
Well, the first thing that needs to be done is to show some sense of professionalism in your role as a mayor or council. It doesn't take rocket science to be able to get along with everyone. Of course, some people's personality are not made that way, true enough. And sometimes egos get in the way. But if you're going to be in that position, as a leader, as a mayor or council person, either one, you have to be able to set aside your egos and work together for the common good of the community. We all have our points. We all have our agendas. We would hope that we could get together and work together to better the betterment of the city. But we cannot do it by ourselves. As a council person, we're just one out of 6, and we have to work in unison together for the betterment of the whole. And I have been a proven leader in doing that. I know in past election, as mayor, I was accused of not being able to bring consensus or not being able to be transparent and not listen to the people or to the council. Well, I'm out of office 2 years, and you can see what has happened in the 2 years that I've been out of office. I don't think it was me that was causing the lack of transparency or the lack of cooperation or the lack of getting things done. The community now has a chance to see for themselves where we need to go and where we need to have the right type of leadership in that position. That's why I'm running again for the Bardstown City Council.
I hate to ask this, could you repeat that question again?
Yeah, the last 2 years have been marked by splits between the mayor and some councilmen, and splits between certain council members. What is needed for this next council to foster a working relationship, and what will you bring to that relationship?
Okay. Well, whenever you're in city government, you're expected to work with people because you're elected by the people. And so what you have to do is you have to always put self aside and remember that you are working on behalf of your constituents. And you shouldn't have, not to disagree with Bill here, but you shouldn't have an agenda. You should be open-minded and work through consensus with everyone else. Personally, the mayor and I, we haven't seen eye to eye, but we haven't in a council meeting raised our voices at each other. I voted the way I felt like I needed to vote on whatever issue it was. And like a lot of the other council members, what we do is after you vote, that's the end of it. You go on to the next item. So I am the kind of person who gets along with everyone. And I pride myself in that. And so that's what I'll continue to bring to this council. I'll continue to work with people with courtesy, professionalism, and respect.
Both Bill and Coach Rowe have excellent points in that when you're electing a city councilman or city council person, you're electing their opinion, of course, but you hope that your opinion as the city residents and constituents are the largest part of what that city councilman will vote for. The city councilman has to be open to that and sensitive to that in the community. But at the same time, you know, it can be said that the situation in the city council could be healthier, obviously. But you've got to elect a group of people that can civilly sit down and work together and work problems out. There's going to be plenty of them. But we have to remember as a city council person that it's the constituents and it's not self, as Coach Rowe said, that's important. You have to take that whole body of work and distill it down and hopefully make the right decisions for your community. Thank you.
One of the things we need to do, whatever the city council is leave the egos at home. I know everybody's got their own little pet peeve to do things, but you cannot do that if one guy wants this, one guy wants that. So we should take a look at who we got, who's running, what they're running on, and listen to, as my gentleman here to my right says, listen to what the constituents say. They're the ones that really want the city to be good. And you know, if we don't do the right thing with the city, then we'll find out that we'll become another Detroit. And we really don't want to be a situation where we're out of money, we can't take care of things. So we really need to sit down and take a good look at who you're electing as the city council. And when the city council gets set, then they really need to sit down and leave the egos at home and to solve the problems that we've got.
I think for what one word I think I would really use would be respect. I think you've got to respect each other. You need to have open and honest discussion, and you need to respect everybody's position. And that means you also need to listen to everybody's position, because no one person always has the right answer. It may be you may disagree with someone's position, but there may be some parts of it that would be workable and would be good. You know, the biggest thing I look with the mayor is that I hope he's learned the lack of communication with his council people can be harmful and can turn them against you. I was hoping that he would have open communication, and I know it goes both ways. I know at several of the meetings I've seen it, you know, where he stated that, look, my door is always open, come in and speak to me. And I think that's true, that if you're not getting all the information you think you are supposed to get, go talk and ask for it. And if you don't get it then I think that, you know, then you may have a problem. But I think we need to respect each other's positions.
I kind of go along with the last two candidates indicated. Ego, you should leave your ego at home, because when you bring your ego with you, whether it's in city government or whether it's at work, you're going to have a little conflict with your personal ego. And also, I think you should be open-minded and respect each person's opinion. Just because my opinion may be different from yours, I mean, you work together with each other's opinion, and instead of a person that's saying it's going to be my way or no way, and I think that's a wrong way to go at any kind of business, whether it's government or anything else. And where I look at things, analyze and value, what is best for this community. I don't go along just for this little group of people over here. I look at the whole community, what is best for this community, and that's what I try to base my decision on, and not just a particular group.
Listening to all the answers with the two questions that pop up real strong is, I actually don't think that there's a big split between the council people. As you look at the votes, You'll never see, in all cases, the alliances to be exactly the same. So I actually have to say, in most of the cases, the councilmen are actually, council people are actually voting on how they feel. As far as what the mayor and why the majority of us all of a sudden have decided that we would like to run for city council, would like to serve our community, which is serving out myself as well, is I think he has to, in the next 2 years, he also has to learn the same thing as what the council people has learned. And what do I bring to the table? I've always said that from the day that I get elected, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to focus. And what that means is at the end of the day, when all the politicking is done and everybody has said what's on their minds, from that first day on the election, it's a totally new city council, and what we all have to do is move forward and focus, focus, focus. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. We'll keep the microphone where it is. Mr. Ness, you'll answer this one first. And I'll be asking this question. The city has used utility reserves to balance its budgets, and those reserves are now depleted. How does the city remedy this financial issue? Are new taxes or revenue streams needed? Is there an alternative to using reserves to balance the budget?
In answer to the question as far as on the reserves, the number one question I ask myself is, how long has it taken for that reserve of $11 million to be built? Did it take 2 years? Did it take 5 years? Did it take 7 years? So as far as that reserve goes, the timing that it took to build it up, we're also going to be in a period of time that it's also going to start building back up as well. So I don't think that's an issue as far as that reserve. As far as the occupational tax, we've already know that with the double increase of the occupational tax from 0.5% to 1%, we've doubled that source of income. The number one issue is not the revenue coming in totally, it's how are we going to balance the budget and live within our means based upon what we have come in for income. And remember, there is only two forms of income the majority of the time. It's taxes and fees. And if you have the taxes already coming in and the fees being already paid, you have to live within that budget. You can't go above and beyond that. And as I said to you before, we're even now taxing the kitchen sink. Thanks.
No other small city in Kentucky that has 6 revenue resources combined utilities, gross over $42 million some dollars, electric, water, sewer, cable, internet, and garbage. City has been transferring to other departments for decades to fund the city infrastructure without raising any taxes. The reason this combined utility revenue was created to maintain low taxes for Bardstown, and I think it has been very superb over the years for we didn't have to raise taxes, and we have spent millions and millions and millions of dollars. We built a wastewater treatment plant, over $16 million. We just upgrade our water system, put clear well and some filters in, and we spent millions of dollars. And the city spent $1 million on Main Street putting in new water lines. So the city has spent many millions of dollars from using this combined utility reserve fund without raising any tax. And I think we should continue using the reserve. That's what it's there for. I mean, some is against using this reserve. What you going to do? Build up a big bank account? I mean, you got to use the money. Bardstown is not here to make a profit. Bardstown here is to have benefits for all the people who live in the community.
Well, first of all, I don't think new taxes and new streams of revenue is the answer, because I think we've seen that the that the city has had an appetite to spend whatever money we give the city, whether it's more occupational taxes or $11 million in utility reserves. That, I can show you here. Here's a chart of what the occupational tax has been since this starts when Dick Heaton was mayor, and you can see for the 4 years he was mayor, he lived within his means and he balanced the budget about $700,000 a year. Now look what has happened since. We go from just in not too many years from $700,000 a year in revenue and occupational tax to next year $4.2 million. So taxes aren't going to solve it, because we found out that despite all these huge increases in occupational taxes, it went through another $11 million. So taxes isn't it. It's going to have to be from the spending side. We're going to have to live within our means. We've always used the utility funds to help the administration, but now they've gone into the reserves. So I propose that we go through each department and have them come to each city council meeting and go top to bottom through their budget and also what their future needs might be. Because not only would we be looking for cuts, we need to plan for future expansion and projects that they may need. So I think that's the way we need to handle that.
Yes, taxes. Well, sometimes I think this city hasn't seen a tax it didn't like. We've seen taxes. I just got word today that the Social Security is getting a 0.03%, so you get $4 a month on your Social Security. So you're looking at the people at the bottom end of the scale. If you keep raising taxes, they're going to have to pay taxes or eat, one of the two. One of the things we need to do is go through the city and take a very good look and see how we can save money. There's probably some things in there that we could do that we could eliminate a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. Now, I'm not saying that people are stealing money, but there's a lot of money that can be set aside or redirected in certain places. So what we've got to do is sit back and take a look at how much money we've got coming in, how much money we got going out, and take a good look through the city from top to bottom as to where we can do some cuts, or maybe we want to do some other things.
The utility reserve fund and utility profits, if you want to call them that, as John said, have historically been used to fund several things on the general side of the ledger in city government, which in the past, has been sufficient. Utility reserves should be just that. Utility reserves should be used for future utility projects and infrastructure improvements. That's what that money should be used for. I personally don't think it's fair to use utility reserves to shore up general fund items such as policing and fire when utility customers that are living within the city are the only ones that's sharing that burden. There are city residents that don't have city utilities, so it's not really fair to that side. The 1%, and I applaud the council for having the nerve to raise the occupational tax, because that revenue stream is sorely needed to help balance this budget, to help balance the next budget. So I applaud them for doing that. The 1% occupational tax should be plenty to cover, but we're going to have to see how this budget shakes out. But additional taxes and additional revenue streams should not be necessary after that action's been taken. And we need to, as the other candidates have said, we need to look at the expenditure side of it. There are several things I think that we can get into that we can trim certain parts of the budget to make ends meet. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to a question that we were asked earlier about a grade. One thing I forgot to mention, we're at the midterm, so the mayor has an opportunity to raise that grade. So I forgot to mention that, and I apologize. But anyway, when we think in terms of taxes, there's not really a fair tax other than maybe a sales tax, because the consumer pays that. You pay as you go, let's say. Insurance premium tax would probably be the only tax that would raise a significant amount of revenue. 4% on property taxes would only bring in about $71,000. So that wouldn't help that much either. But to really answer your question, no, I don't think we need additional revenue streams. With the increase in occupational license fee from 0.5 to 1.0, that's going to bring in about $2 million more a year. So that is going to take care of the issues we have with our reserves and so forth, and we'll be able to do some good and positive things for our community with that money. Thank you.
There's one simple word that we can use when we talk about the managing the budget and making it balance out, and that's arithmetic. It's you either add or you take away. Now, I can speak from experience because when I came into office in 2011, we had a little over $6 million in reserve. Now, when I left office in 2014, we had over $11 million in reserves. And during those 4 years, we were able to buy necessary equipment that the city needed. We were also able to pay our employees a sustainable living wage. We were able to manage all of our expenses that we needed, and we still were able to save and put back in reserve for a rainy day the money that we have. So what it all boils down to is you just need to know how to manage the money that you have, put trust in your employees that we have to help them, to give them the opportunity to manage their departments. And if you have the trust in your employees, then they will do a good job if they know you got their back. And that's all it took. We didn't have to raise the occupational license fee rate. We just did what we had, and we're still able to put money back in reserve and still manage the city and still make it look beautiful. So, yeah, and take less money out of the combined utilities funds to make the general fund balanced out. And yes, we did balance 4 straight budgets with money left over. So it's not a rocket science. You just need to know how to manage what you got.
All right, thank you. We'll keep the microphone where it is, and we'll start with Mr. Shekels to answer this question first, and we'll go to Randy Patrick.
What can the city do to improve the quality of life for its residents? And what are your views on the city's role in managing growth, including traffic congestion and maintaining our small town atmosphere?
Well, we're not going to stop growing. So you can just put that aside. We're going to stop growing. We're not going to stop growing. Things are going to continue to move on, and we just have to continue to manage the things that we have, and we can keep the small town flavor, but still do it in a progressive manner. The main thing that we need to do is to make that happen is bring harmony among our city and county developments, because a lot of people don't realize this, but I've had the opportunity to travel the state and be involved in many statewide organizations, and there was a general envy of Bardstown because of the way we work together with our city and county governments and economic development, all working together to make Bardstown a beautiful place to live, work, and play. We were the envy of many cities around the state, and a lot of cities around the state wanted to copy what we do. So the whole key is to work together to where everyone wants to come to Bardstown. We have tourists, we have other government officials that want to come. They want to see how we do what we do. And the whole key is to work together as a city, county, and economic development team. That's what it takes. It's not rocket science. It's just putting our egos aside, like you say, and working together, because anytime you live in a small community and you can work together and not have to duplicate services, then you're going to make it less costly for all citizens, city and county residents.
What we need to do to improve the quality of life here is we need to be more kid-friendly. We need more activities for kids. We need more playgrounds. We need more recreation facilities. We need outdoor basketball courts. I think we only have one. I might be miscounting, but I think we only have one. We need walking paths. We need bike paths. We need a water park. I found out just recently that Litchfield, a city that's about half our size, has a water park. I know Elizabethtown does, but they're a lot bigger than we are. Well, we do need more amenities here to attract young people here and to make them want to stay. We need to work with county government to have more connectivity. Most certainly, we need to work with the county and the city and parochial schools about traffic issues at certain times of the day. The Springfield Road from McDonald's really needs to be expanded. You know, we got a lot of traffic there. We need to do something on this end of town. Buttermilk has really been neglected a lot. Okay, we have a lot of people who could be paying more in taxes if we had some homes on these lots. And there are other lots around the city that are vacant as well. When you look around this county, the residential growth is in the county. We need to encourage more residential growth in our city.
Okay, quality of life for our residents. I think the first thing that I'd like to touch on is, and Coach Rowe brought this up, would be the traffic issues that we see. An example would be, US 150, Springfield Road, Bluegrass interchange. Those kind of things are the thing that we need to make sure as a council that we're working closely with the state and make sure that Bardstown is on the forefront of getting any of that money that's available. Obviously that's a state highway, but the city of Bardstown would have a great deal of input as to how that's accomplished. So I think that's very important. As far as, and I think we had brought up earlier, and I think this has to do with quality of life also, is the fire station. One of the things that it was brought up earlier was possibly expanding the one we have. Personally, I don't think that that's a good idea. I think we will, as a community, as this community grows, we will need an additional fire station. We'll have to be smart about it. We'll have to find the best location, talk to the firemen, talk to the people that are involved, and find a new location that we could split our resources and really bring that response time down. And that's their main goal, is bringing down the response time and hopefully increasing our ISO rating to boot. Economic development. The biggest thing that when I've talked to some of the business leaders that have recently located here, the thing that drew them to Bardstown was the downtown. I mean, that was one of the big players that brought them here. They're younger people. They like that vibrant downtown. They like our beautiful downtown.
Time on that, Mr. Jones. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things for quality of life, as said, is traffic. We need to finish a ring road around Bardstown, not to keep the traffic out of downtown, but to keep the trucks and the people that don't need to go downtown, that are going someplace else where they don't have to go through downtown. Right now, downtown is, you get all semis, you get semis through there and everybody else, when you could cut some of that out and let it go with the citizens. As the coach said, we need more recreational facilities here in town. We used to have quite a number of recreational facilities. Some adult recreation facilities were in town that were forced to have to close up and move out. And we have not replaced those. We need something for the kids. So now if you're going to go and do a lot of recreating, such as a lot of the people are having to go to Lexington and other places to play top quality soccer. So as far as I'm concerned, the best thing we can do is to live where we are, to make improvements to our infrastructure, and try to bring some kind of sports program into the city for the kids. You keep the kids happy, you keep the parents happy, and try to relieve some of the traffic congestion we've got.
Of course, I grew up here in Bardstown, and I can remember how small the town used to be. And of course, my dad can talk to me about how much smaller it used to be when he was young. I guess when I was young, the north end of town extended just beyond where the railroad tracks cross. The biggest thing that came in when I was young had Dairy Queen. Arby's is there now. That was expanding north. We didn't have 245 crossing there at all. The west of town was Riley's Drive-In. like a 50s drive-in. You would look at it today, it's where the Bardstown Inn is. So we've lost a lot of that. But I think if you look at the Rick Hill report, one of the things I remember about that keeps your small town charm is that he recommended that we have setback lines now even in downtown for your buildings. And he recommended that we go to 0 lot line setbacks, just like all the business are up and down Main Street and 3rd Street. And then we can avoid it when we do add businesses to the downtown. It won't be like what Medica had to do, where you end up having parking out front. Let's make it pedestrian friendly, and I think it helps keep the small town atmosphere. And I say I'm running out of time and got a lot more words, but and again, we need to look at traffic too, because the downtown traffic has gotten worse. And I agree with the bypasses that we need to take a hard look at those as well. So I saw I ran out of time. Sorry.
Small town atmosphere. I think number one thing we need to do is control the growth. We cannot stop growth, but we can control the growth. I have indicated many times we need to draw a circle around the city of Bardstown. And once we get to that circle, we stop. If we just continue on annexing, and really, you're gonna make the city so big, and we already have 80 miles of street that we had to resurface. And I have pushing this for some time that we need to draw a line around the city of Bardstown, and once we reach that circle, we need to stop and analyze and evaluate before we go any further. And I think that would be a benefit to the city of Bardstown. And getting back to this traffic, I have been pushing this for years. The peak hours of the city of Bardstown, in the morning and the afternoon, is very dangerous, especially on West Stephen Paulson and Cathedral Manor. And with this loop around Bardstown, that will kind of eliminate a lot of this congestion traffic that we are having problem right now. And I think we need someone with some pull up in Frankfurt to get this done.
In the quality of life, I've always said that if we can do the most for the majority or more of the citizens, we would be doing a good job. And for the last 2 times running for city council, I have mentioned items like the quality of the water. I've mentioned about the paving of our streets. And I've also mentioned working closely with the county as far as items like the recreation department. And these are all things that are being brought up. The school part, we're only sort of talking about what we can do, but we also have already working with us is the school department. So that's the quality of life for the citizens coming in. The growth of what we can do, I'm saying, and I said it in my opening statement, we need businesses such as Sykes back out into the shopping centers. So what we have to do is get more user-friendly businesses into the city. And on the other end of it, I want you to know, I do not feel that there's anything wrong with annexation. I haven't happened to differ on that, so that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. And we'll move now to closing statements, and we'll have 90 seconds on those. And Mr. Ness, you'll start first.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank everybody here for being here tonight. I want to thank all those that are watching us on TV. I've already used my #1 statement already, and it was part of my closing statement. I said that if I got elected to city council, I was going to move forward and I was going to focus. And I think that everyone here that's running for city council, they in their hearts also feel the same thing. What's over the dam, we've got to let it go. We've got to move forward, and we got to focus, focus, focus. And finally, I've always said out on the street, if it's broken, we got to fix it. Thank you.
I think the city need to continue good relationship with the county, including the sheriff department. And I would like to take this time to, oh, I forgot something. Also, the city council members should work better together also, because we can have some little improvement in that aspect. And I would like to thank each and every one who supported and voted for me in the past. And I ask you for your support again, November 8th, and I will appreciate it. And my conclusion words about that we need you all to work together. United we stand, divided we fall. Together we can continue working together, making Bardstown a beautiful city always. And I would like for you to vote for Francis Lydian, re-elect Francis Lydian November 8th. Thank you. God bless.
First of all, I'd like to thank PLG and Kentucky Standard for hosting this. So I think it's good that the community gets to find out how the candidates stand on this, and the audience here and the audience out there in the community. Also, I'd like to thank my fellow candidates for an open and honest discussion without involving personalities or negative comments about each other. So I appreciate that and thank you all for that. But I would like to make Bardstown a better place, as everybody else has seen. Here we have seen a lot of, in the last couple of years, a lot of negative publicity, especially on the Louisville stations. There's been more negative publicity and reports about the Bardstown city government than there has about Louisville city government. I think we need to be fiscally responsible. We can't use taxes and revenue to solve our problems. Last year, they promised that when they did the full-time fire department that our ISO ratings, our insurance ratings go down, therefore our insurance premiums go down. If I'm elected, I'm going to see that they keep that promise and that we use those things and get our insurance reduced so we can return some of the money we've taken in occupational taxes back to the citizens. I hope to use my experience both as county attorney and city attorney to help solve some of the problems between the city and the county. If you elect me, I will be part of solving the problems and not creating them. Thank you.
I want to thank the PLG-13 and the paper for hosting this event, and all the people that are in the audience and those on TV that are watching at home. I use Facebook quite a bit, the social media. You can find me at Franklin Thompson for Bardstown City Council on Facebook, and I have a lot of stuff that I've discussed, and you can find out what my goal is. I also have a Facebook page, you can look at it. What we need to do is make sure that we do not raise the taxes to where the little guy cannot afford to eat. I know everybody says, well, everybody's making money, people get pay raises. Well, the retirees are locked in there with what the government says we can get. So I'm just decided that I'm not going to go for raising taxes willy-nilly. I like to see the city get by on what they've got. And I want to thank everybody for coming out, and I'm number 8 on the ballot. Give me a shot.
I would also like to thank PLG and Kentucky Standard for hosting this debate, and thank to all of you that came out, and thank you to those of you who tuned in on television to watch all the candidates. And I'd also like to thank the candidates. A friend of mine once said when I was thinking about running for city council, you can't complain unless you're willing to put your toe on the line. And I want to thank all these fine gentlemen up here for putting their toe up on the line and putting themselves out there. One of the things that wasn't asked tonight I'd like to add is some type of like to have more discussion about city-county cooperation. There's always room for more cooperation with the county. We should be looking at it as two partner companies rather than two adversaries. With recreation, 911, fire, police, cooperation is always less expensive than standing alone, in my opinion. So I'm David Dones, and I'd appreciate your vote.
I want to thank the media for putting on this event. lot of us sit up here and we get nervous and we burn up with the lights, but it is a worthwhile cause. I'm humbly running for a 5th term on the Bardstown City Council because I would like to continue to see our city be proactive, to be a destination community for our families and jobs, and to continue making the strides it has over the last several years. Revered Bardstown High School football coach Garnis Martin once told me there's no substitute for experience. Well, sports teams and cities do well when they have senior leadership. Experience and continuity go hand in hand to benefit any organization. I believe that my 8 years of service on the various committees has given me the greater insight so that I can help evaluate, analyze, and make informed decisions. When reelected, my top priorities would include working on our critical infrastructure and economic concerns. I would also like to work on repairing existing sidewalks. I will continue to work with consensus with the mayor and the council members so that we can continue to do well. I want to remind you that Bardstown is the economic engine of this community, so we have to have a good working relationship with fiscal court, and we have to have growth, but it has to be controlled growth. As we look at the upcoming election, I think it's important that the voters elect individuals who will work for the type of government that gives us all public participation. Again, thank you I'm asking you for the gift of your vote again, and I want to serve you some more with courtesy, professionalism, and respect. You can find out more about me on Facebook, Reelect Coach Rowe.
We got time on that, Mr.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Forrest, Randy, and Matthew for putting on this program, along with all your other staff members of PLG, for allowing us to come out tonight and voice our opinions on how well we should think this city should be run. All elections have consequences. The people that go out and vote, they make a statement. The people that don't go out and vote, they also make a statement. This election today, or on November 8th, will probably be the most important in our lifetimes. The nation and our city are at a crossroads. When election day comes on November 8th, we can sit at home and do nothing, or we can get up off our rusty dusties and get our behinds to the polls and vote. This is no time to be griping and complaining about how sick you are of how low politics have gotten in this country and this city, if you don't get to the polls and do your part in making things better. Pay attention to the things that are going on around you. And if you're fortunate enough to have the privilege of voting, find out where your precinct is, get to the polls, and vote for the people that are committed and have the knowledge and experience to make things better for all of us. My name is Bill Shekels. I'm number 3 on your ballot, and I'll appreciate your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And thanks again to all the candidates for joining us here tonight for our live debate here on PLG-TV 13, the second in a series of 2 for the Bardstown City Council. Look for this debate to be archived to our website at plgtv.com, and it will also be replayed this weekend. Stay tuned to PLG for those times. Thanks to the panelists beside me, Kentucky Standard editor Forrest Berkshire and Kentucky Standard reporter Randy Patrick. A special thanks to our producers John White and Matt Gordon, and to PLG's Jamie Sizemore and Danielle Mattingly. Thanks to Will Blair for his assistance with lighting, the Nelson County governments for use of the Civic Center, and also a special thanks to Mike Vitito with Bardstown Cable for his awesome work as well. I'm Matthew Fogel. Be sure to go out to the polls on November the 8th. Have an excellent evening.